Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dread Time Stories. I'm your host, Dr. Phobia. And tonight, dear patients, it's almost that wonderful time of the year where we spend way too much money on people that we kind of care about. No, I'm just kidding. You love spending money on your loved ones, I understand. Even though it's one of the most wonderful times of the year, there's still dangers out there. We seem to let our guard down this time of year, so these are 3 tales that will remind you, even though it's that special time of the year, things can still go bump in the night. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's tale, Truly Terrifying, Volume 12. This was back during 2020. Our town never really locked down or anything. We sort of just masked up and continued with our lives as normal. So I was working behind the counter with the plexiglass up when a man walked in. He walked over to the beer cooler, bought a 6-pack, and set it down on the counter. We proceeded to have a little small talk, but he was very vague with his answers. I was asking him, things about Christmas, stuff like that. Honestly, I think I might have annoyed him, but that was besides the point. As he grabbed his beer and walked out the door, wishing me a Merry Christmas, a man entered, wearing a cheap Santa Claus mask. It literally looked like somebody put a beard and a hat on a paper plate. That's how cheap this was. The guy looked totally confused, but before he could say anything, the fake Santa reached into his coat, pulled a pistol, and shot the guy twice in the store. I screamed, he looked at me, and just ran back out the door. Nothing else said, just jumped into a pickup and took off down the highway. I will say one thing, the company that I do work for still has very good safety measures. Instead of having a silent alarm, we actually have a panic button that's located under the counter. We can press the button and it will automatically lock the doors if they are closed and send out a silent alert to the police. So I did just that, and for an extra bit of safety, I ran back and hid in the office. About 5 minutes later, I heard a pounding on the door and poked my head out to see 2 highway patrol officers standing right outside of the gas station. I hit the button again and I let them inside. They took one look at the man, checked his pulse, and realized, unfortunately, he was dead. I felt kind of awful, to be honest, that I didn't go over and check the body myself. But when you're in fight or flight mode and your body picks flight, you're literally running for the nearest exit. I don't care what your Good Samaritan side says. An ambulance showed up shortly later after the highway patrol officers, and they hauled the man away. For the next couple months, I had no answers to any of the questions that I had. I even called the local police departments and the highway patrol trying to find out anything on this situation just to give myself some kind of closure. Well, in February of 2021, I got my answer. It turns out that the man that had entered my gas station, the man that had entered my store was a multi-state weed dealer. And apparently the guy that had shot him was an ex-business partner of his that the man had cut out of some major money. I never found out an exact amount, but all I know was in the multiple thousands of dollars. Honestly, as strange as it sounds, I actually felt a lot better after that, realizing that this man in the fake Santa mask was not going to come back for me. He had done what he had done, and that was the end of it. So I drive for Uber Eats, and have done so pretty much since the company's infancy. I have found one night of the year that you actually make a lot of money, and if you're like me and only spend minimal time with your family because of differences, you can make a lot of money on Christmas Eve. So I drive for Uber Eats, and I've actually learned the best day of the year to drive for Uber Eats is in fact Christmas Eve. And if you're someone like me that only spends minimal time with their family due to some differences, Then you'll know how to find better ways to fill your time and, ultimately, your pocketbook. So this was Christmas Eve of 2019. I snagged one of the deliveries off my phone for a pretty large McDonald's order, about $30 worth of food. So I punch in that I'm going to take it, and I ride over to the McDonald's and wait on everything to be done. So after a few minutes, they end up getting all my food ready, and I head out towards the address. When I arrive at the address, I actually notice it's just the foundation of a house. So I call the person and I basically say, "What's up?" The guy then tells me that he actually bought the entire property, and there used to be a house closer to the street. However, if I would, quote, look with my eyes, there's a driveway that runs behind the house and leads back to a further point on the property. He said that's where his camper is set up, and see the sign next to the driveway. This dude's already being a complete douche, so I decide not to anger him anymore. I thought to myself, good thing I'm in a vehicle with some decent ground clearance. If I'd have been driving my little sports car, I would have been boned, and this dude would have had to walk his ass up and come get it. I got back in my car and drove down the little lane that led back. After a while, it started getting more and more rutted and turned more into a off-road trail than an actual driveway. After I got to the very end, I actually could see a very bright bonfire burning. I pulled up, and sure enough, there in fact was a camper with about 5 or 6 people standing around it at a bonfire. I walked up and asked for the guy. His name was Brett. This huge dude comes walking around the fire and right up to me, looks me dead in the face, me being a 5'8", 160-pound guy, and him probably in the ballpark of 6'3", well over 200 pounds. Well, it's about damn time. Good Lord, we didn't order that much food. Sorry, the McDonald's was a little slow. Oh yeah, buddy, blame it on somebody else. Look, just give me my shit, okay? And get the hell out of here. Well, you don't have to be rude, dude. Look, I'll be however I want to be on my own damn property. You got it? Yeah, here's your damn McDonald's. Now you need to drop your attitude. Whoa, so I can't have an attitude, but you can? Dude, it's a free country. Kiss my ass. And have a Merry frickin' Christmas. As I turned around, I suddenly was shoved in the back hard. I turn around, and the dude's looking at me, not like a human being, but like a predator looking at a piece of meat. Look, I said drop your attitude. Now you better fucking apologize to me. I will do no such thing. And beyond that, you're lucky I don't try to get you for assault, because that's exactly what that was. Oh, look at this guy saying that he's going to sue me because I roughed him up a little bit. Pansy. I got back in my car, and I started to back out. I made my way back up the dirt road and back onto the main road. I drove for about another 10 minutes and actually pulled into a gas station because my blood was boiling. I'm not going to lie, I hit the steering wheel of my old beater pickup truck a couple of times just to vent. I sat there for a moment, then went inside, grabbed a Red Bull, came back out, and decided to do a couple more Uber Eats deliveries. I got a notification on the app that not only had I gotten a negative review, but the guy refused to even tip me. Needless to say, I was a little pissed off about that. But my thoughts were quickly diverted somewhere else. I noticed a Jeep had pulled into the gas station. It was one of those 4-door Wranglers, and some guys got out. One of the guys in the driver's seat being Brett. He took one look at me and said, "Hey, hope you saw what you got on the app. Merry frickin' Christmas, asshole." I flipped him off. He came charging at me, so I got back in my truck, threw it in reverse, and tore out of the parking lot. It was then I heard a loud pop and something whiz by my truck. I realized that this dude had just taken a shot at me. So I continued to drive. I made it to the local police station, went inside, gave a report, showed everything that I had on the app, and reported him as well. Sadly to say, nothing was ever really done about it, other than him being banned from the app. But it did affect my rating for a while, and I'll tell you this. I'm never doing any more deliveries out in the sticks. Well, dear patients, there's 2 Christmas Eve horror stories to spook up your holiday. So like I always say in closing, check under your bed, look in your closet, and sleep with the light on. The life you save may very well be your own. Good night, everyone, and Merry Christmas.